Hi, my name is Kazuki Morishita. I am the executive producer of Let It Die. I handle the game mechanics and gameplay elements. Hi, my name is Hideyuki Shin from Grasshopper. I am the lead director of Let It Die. Hi, I'm Suda51. I'm the executive director of Let It Die. I handle the story element and the setting as well. And I think mainly as well, I'm handling the amount of blood that is being used inside the game.
So for people who have no idea what Let It Die is, kind of give a brief summary of what the game's about and what it is.
So, Let It Die is a ultra-violent hack and slash action game.
So what are some of the challenges when making a hack and slash third-person action game in today's market?
In terms of the genre, it's a roguelike hack and slash. The business model is free to play, so we want to make sure that, as well as the PvP element, make sure that that's enjoyable for all our players and that every single player has a unique experience.
So being free to play, what are some of the challenges when designing a game to be profitable and still be free to play?
I think the main challenge would be to make sure that the game is not play to win, as you mentioned. I think that's probably the hardest part, making sure that the balance is good. And that's sort of the focus that we have, making sure that it's enjoyable for every single player and that it's not play to win.
So talk about the story in the game. What's going on in this world?
So when you start the game, you start off in your underwear. Obviously, male characters are only wearing your underwear, your bottom underwear. For female characters are playable as well. So female characters, don't worry, you got your top and your bottom, so don't worry about that. Yeah. So the game starts off in the year 2027 in Tokyo. It's 7 years after the 2020 Tokyo Olympics that we have scheduled. In terms of the game, in terms of the setting itself, it's sort of, I guess, similar to Akira, the very famous Japanese anime slash manga that reached sort of a worldwide audience and a cult classic. It's a few years after sort of Akira in a post-apocalyptic world, and as when you're thrown into the game initially, you don't know anything what's going on in the story. You don't have any backstory at all. There's no information. So as you gradually play and you advance in the game, the story unfolds.
So a lot of video games in today's world take themselves very seriously. Some say too seriously. What's opened up for you creatively, being able to have fun with your game, and enjoy making it, making people laugh and smile and stuff?
I think the biggest part, at least that I'm focusing on, is the amount of blood that's being used. I think the amount of blood, it's so dramatic and plentiful that I think it'll make everybody smile.
What are some of the challenges when taking a game that's being developed in Japan and moving it to the U.S. American market? What are some of the challenges that are involved in that?
So I think traditionally it's always been Japanese developers would localize the game and they would release it in the West. I think our biggest challenge for this game is how to provide universal appeal to it in terms of the game system, making sure that everybody is able to enjoy, whatever culture you're from, whatever country you're from, making sure that everybody is able to play the game and enjoy it, as well as the free-to-play element. Obviously on console, free-to-play has always sort of had like a, I don't know, not completely negative, but it's always sort of been on the outskirts of being positive, I believe. And that would be another challenge that we're trying to make sure that we're clearing, making sure that free-to-play console games are enjoyable. So originally, like the question that we had earlier about how serious games and games that sort of provoke smiles and laughter and humor. I believe that in terms of this game, I think we wanted to make sure that the game sort of evokes emotion from the players. Making sure that players are actually going through some kind of emotion. And I think that was one of the bigger challenges that we had, in making sure that the game is sort of reflecting that idea. And Shin-san just said that as a good answer. And basically, for Shin-san at least, there were really no actual boundaries in terms of Japan or Western or any other country in the world. He really didn't think about the cultural differences as being a hurdle that he had to overcome. I think the biggest thing that he wanted to focus on was to make sure that the free-to-play action on console would be enjoyable and would be sort of appealing to every user base in the world. And in terms of this game, it is a free-to-play game, but we also have a story, background story, and that's sort of sort of a new idea, I believe, because usually free-to-plays do not have a story, background story. They have a very minimal story, but this one does have a very thick storyline as well. So making sure that the players, even after the story ends, which usually is what grabs the user's attention, I think even after the story ends, it's a free-to-play, so it will continue in terms of gameplay. And we're hoping that the gameplay will keep the players playing the game and making sure that they're playing and enjoying for the entire span of the free-to-play game experience, which is pretty much forever.
When does the game come out, and when can people play it? And if there's a closed beta, where can they find out more information about that?
As he mentioned, as Shin-san mentioned, definitely coming out this year. In terms of closed beta, as Mauricio-san mentioned, it's something that we've always sort of talked about internally. We've discussed it. We do not have a concrete plan as to whether we will or will not do it, but we're definitely aiming right now and focusing on the release of 2016. So we're making sure that that's met. If there is a closed beta, we'll definitely follow up with more information.